began with a dream. Not the kind that fades with the sunrise, but one that stains the edges of your waking life, whispering through the hours, blurring what's real and what isn't. For Ethan Miller, the dream wasn't just a nightmare. It was a prophecy, a haunting reflection of his own death. Ethan had always been a light sleeper, a restless mind, overwork from his job as a forensic photographer for the city's homicide division, often kept him up past midnight. He'd seen too much, faces frozen in their final screams, blood blooming across pale skin, eyes staring into nothingness. But none of it prepared him for the dream that first came on the night of October 4th. In it, he stood in a forest, mist curling around his feet like living smoke. The moon was swollen, bleeding light across the trees. He could hear whispering, soft at first, then clearer. "It's time, Ethan. Wake up." He tried to turn, to find the voice, but the trees stretched endlessly, and the ground beneath him pulsed like a heartbeat. Then he saw himself, hanging from one of the trees, his eyes open, his face pale, his camera dangling from his neck. He woke drenched in sweat, gasping. The clock beside his bed read 3:03 a.m., the same time every night after that. For the next week, the dream repeated itself, always the same. The forest, the whispers, the corpse, his corpse. And every time he woke, something from the dream followed him back. Muddy footprints on the carpet, the scent of damp earth, the faint echo of a whisper when no one was around. At first, he tried to rationalize it. Stress. Trauma. The mind replaying old horrors. But when he developed a roll of film from a crime scene, one that he swore he hadn't taken, he saw something that made his blood run cold. In the corner of the photo, blurred and ghostly, was a figure. His figure. Standing in the same forest from his dreams. The photo timestamp read 3:03 a.m., October 10th, a date that hadn't even arrived yet. Ethan showed the photo to his friend Claire, a crime journalist he trusted more than anyone. "It's impossible," she said, squinting at the picture. "You couldn't have taken this. There's no record of it." "I know," Ethan said quietly. "But it's real. I can feel it." Claire tried to convince him to take a break, but Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was trying to warn him. The next night, he didn't sleep. He sat on his couch, camera in hand, waiting. But around 3 a.m., his lights flickered, and the air grew cold. He looked through the camera lens, and there it was again. The forest. His corpse. But this time, the body's eyes moved. They turned toward him, and its lips parted. "You took the picture," it whispered. "Now take the place." The camera shattered in his hands. Ethan stumbled back, heart hammering. But when he blinked, he was no longer in his apartment. He was in the forest. The same forest from the dream, only now it was real. He felt the cold dampness of the earth under his feet, smelled the rot of leaves and old death. Somewhere in the distance, he heard the soft click of a camera shutter. "Claire," he called out. No answer. He followed the sound deeper into the woods. The mist thickened, curling around him like fingers. Every few steps, he thought he saw movement, shadows twisting between the trees, watching him. Then he saw the camera, lying in the dirt. His camera, the one that had shattered. He bent down to pick it up, and froze. Next to it was a photograph, still damp from developing fluid. It showed him standing exactly where he was, bending to pick up the camera. Then he heard the whisper again, right behind him. "Smile." The flash blinded him. When Ethan came to, he was lying in his bed, breathing hard. The morning sun streamed through the blinds. For a moment, he laughed shakily. "A dream," he muttered. "Just a dream." But when he looked down, the soles of his feet were covered in mud. Over the next few days, his reality began to unravel. His coworkers said he hadn't shown up for work in a week. His phone was full of missed calls from Claire, each one recorded at 3:03 a.m. His photos, every single one, began to change. People's faces blurred out. Backgrounds melted into fog. And always, there was a shape watching from behind the trees. Claire came to his apartment to check on him. She found the door unlocked, the air thick with the scent of decay. Ethan was sitting in the corner, rocking slightly, camera in his hands. His eyes were bloodshot, unfocused. "Ethan," she whispered. "What happened?" He looked up at her and smiled faintly. "It's real. I died 7 nights ago." Claire tried to pull the camera from his hands, but he resisted, whispering something she couldn't understand. Finally, the strap snapped, and the camera fell, spilling a roll of undeveloped film across the floor. Claire gathered it, took it to her office, and developed the photos herself. What she saw made her stomach twist. Every frame showed Ethan, standing, hanging, walking, all at once. In one photo, his eyes looked directly at the lens. And behind him, in the mist, was another figure. Her figure. That night, Claire had her first dream of the forest. She woke up at 3:03 a.m. The same whisper called her name. And somewhere in the city, Ethan's phone lit up, receiving a photo message. It was a picture of Claire, standing in the forest, camera around her neck. The curse had found its next subject. Over the following nights, Claire experienced the same descent into madness. Each dream grew more vivid, more violent. She saw Ethan hanging from the tree, his body swaying gently in the fog. He would open his eyes, whisper her name, and point to something behind her. When she turned, she always saw a faint light, a camera flash, then woke up screaming. Desperate, Claire sought help from Dr. Malcolm Reeves, a sleep specialist known for his studies on lucid nightmares and death premonitions. He listened carefully, recording her words. "Dream contagion," he said finally. "It's rare, but it exists. Sometimes, a traumatic image can infect another mind through subconscious suggestion. But the time patterns, 3:03 a.m., that's ritualistic." Claire told him about Ethan's photo, the timestamp, the forest, everything. Dr. Reeves frowned. 3:03, he murmured. The witching hour reversed. A symbol of life, mirroring death. That night, Dr. Reeves reviewed the recording of their session, only to find static. When he enhanced the audio, he heard faint whispers beneath the noise. "It's time, Malcolm. Wake up." The next morning, Claire called him, no answer. Police found him in his office, slumped over his desk, eyes wide open. Time of death, 3:03 a.m. By now, Claire understood the truth, or what she thought was truth. The curse spread through the image itself, through the act of seeing. A photo, once viewed, marked you. Once the dream came, it couldn't be escaped. She tried to destroy every copy, every digital file, every print. But the photo always came back. Sometimes in her inbox, sometimes on her phone wallpaper, sometimes printed on the back of receipts. One night, exhausted and trembling, she returned to Ethan's apartment. It was abandoned now, coated in dust. On the table lay a single camera, the same one from the photos. Something inside her compelled her to pick it up. She aimed it at the mirror and took a picture. The flash burned her eyes, and when her vision cleared, the mirror was black, like a window into darkness. From within it, something smiled. She screamed and threw the camera. But when it hit the ground, the shutter clicked one last time. The next morning, the apartment was empty. Only the camera remained, lying in the dirt near the window. Weeks passed. The police filed 2 missing persons cases, Ethan Miller and Claire Brooks. Both disappeared without a trace. The last record of Claire was a voicemail, left at exactly 3:03 a.m. Don't look at the photo. A year later, a new tenant moved into Ethan's old apartment, a college student named Adam. He found an old film roll under the floorboards and, curious, developed it. The first photo was blurry, but he could make out 2 figures in the fog, a man and a woman, both holding cameras. He chuckled. Weird. That night, he dreamed of the forest. When he woke, the clock on his bedside table read 3:03 a.m. And in the darkness, his phone vibrated with a new message. A photo of himself, standing in the forest, smiling.